Okay, I did not even realize that I was stuck in these toxic patterns, in relationship patterns, until someone pointed it out to me one day. That is the moment that I realized that it is true. It is like I am in one relationship, and the moment it ends, somehow I land up in a different relationship. That ends, and then somehow again I land up in again a new relationship. It's like I'm not even trying, but it is this loop that sort of keeps on repeating and repeating and repeating. So when I talk about relationships, I have had my very fair share of all kinds of experiences. I have sort of been heartbroken. I have broken other people's hearts. And I have made terrible, terrible mistakes. I have hated myself up until 2020. I'm going to tell you all about that and share my experiences with you, what my learnings were, how I sort of brought myself out of these situations, how I healed myself, forgave other people, so that I'm sure like one or other area of this video is going to be super duper helpful for you, and I hope that you can take that away with you from this video. Now, if I talk about the number of people also that I've been with, I can count them on just one hand. I have been with very few people in my life, because the first relationship that I had, the first proper relationship that I had, that lasted for almost 6 to 7 years. And I messed up. I sort of was not faithful to this person. And as soon as that happened, I sort of landed up in a different relationship again. When this happened, the second relationship was one of the most toxic relationships of my whole life. I still cannot believe how I survived through it, because I remember that while I was in that relationship, I got panic attacks, I got anxiety attacks. I was once admitted in a hospital, for God's sakes. And I remember when my dad walked into the hospital, he saw my face and he started to cry. And that was the moment when I realized that what the hell am I doing? Why am I putting my family through all of this? Why am I putting my dad through all of this? He doesn't deserve this. And I still remember his face so very clearly. And that was the day that I decided that I'm not going to do anything stupid. So it's not like I did something here. It was just that being in this relationship, there was so much that I was bottling up within myself. I was not talking to people. I was not sharing it with anyone. And I was getting suffocated every single day. It was getting more and more toxic until one day I just burst. Until one day it was just out and I could not take it anymore. So as a form of an anxiety attack, it was so bad that I had to be admitted in a hospital. I realized that this is the first time that I'm actually sharing it with a large audience like this, and I'm actually saying it out aloud, because I'm going to tell you why. Because until 2020, I was not able to talk about any of this stuff. I used to just choke. I used to just break down every time I used to talk about it. And this shows, like, the fact that I'm able to talk about it shows how much I've healed. Coming back to the topic, this second relationship that I'm talking about, the most toxic one, once this ended, then again I went back to the previous one, the one where I was not very faithful to. He's the best person that I still know, and I mean, I don't talk to him anymore, but he was, when I look back, it was the best relationship that I was ever in. But again, I don't regret any of the things that have happened, and again, that is a point that I will talk about later. I feel like there are so many things just like popping in my mind right now, but I'll get to it one by one, step by step, because up until a point I used to regret. I used to feel like, oh my God, I did this, I did that. What if it would have worked out with him? Did I make a mistake? But now I don't have any regrets whatsoever. So I went back to this previous relationship, and again, he had the biggest heart and he sort of let me in again. But I again was not faithful, and I messed up again. When I sort of moved to the third relationship, things were okay, but then again, this one time it happened that I went back to this first person. You see how messed up I was, how messed up my thought process was, and just me as a person was. It didn't make me a bad person, but it did account for a lot of bad decisions that I've made. So I again went back to this first person, so was not faithful to the third person, and this became a very, very messed up situation. And when this happened, the kind of guilt and the kind of stuff that I felt inside me was incomparable to anything that I had ever felt in my whole life. Because after this happened, I started to blame myself, curse myself so much to the point that it led me to a depression-like state. I remember I used to walk around at my house like a zombie. I didn't used to eat anything in the whole day. I didn't used to drink water for like hours and hours. Like the whole day would pass and I would have like half a chapati, half a roti or half a glass of water, and I would not even realize. I lost 10 kg weight. I dropped down to 42 kgs. I used to go to grocery shops and they would deny recognizing me. Okay, so that was the situation. My parents were really worried about me, and there was this 6 to 8 months patch where it went on like this. It was terrible. I cannot tell you how much I blamed myself, how much I cursed myself. I felt like I was the worst person in the world. That guilt ate me up. And then I had to sort of look for an internship. It was about time when I came back from my second master's from China, Paris, London, Shanghai, where I was studying. I came back from there, and then it was time for me to look for an internship. So I somehow sort of tried to divert my mind. I went ahead to pursue this internship in Bangalore. Slowly and steadily, I tried to bring myself back to senses, to sanity, because now I had something to do. But it was still very difficult. And while I was moving through this process, again, the same toxic pattern that I'm talking about, I again attracted another person who wanted to be in a relationship with me. While I was healing, while I was not even healed, while I was in this mess. So I told this person that I don't think I can be with you because there is just so much in my head that I don't even know how I'm going to process. But he was very persistent. He was very insisting on this whole thing that he wanted to be with me. And I think 6 months later, I somehow said yes. I knew that it was not a 100% yes, but I don't know why. It was like my pattern. And somehow I said yes, and we did come into a relationship. And I knew that things would not go anywhere with him down the line. Like long term, it would not go anywhere with him, but I still chose to be with him. And this was the second most toxic relationship of my life. It was controlling, it was needy, it was so toxic that it was like if I had to go out with somebody, like a guy friend, he would get super insecure, and I constantly had to take decisions keeping in mind, oh, how would he feel if I do this? How would he feel? Is he going to feel insecure? Is he going to feel upset? Is he going to be this and that? So my decisions weren't mine anymore. My life was not mine anymore. It felt like it was his. I was sort of doing things because of him. It's the most suffocating thing for me. I don't think that I can live my life in a way where the control is in somebody else's hands. I do things because I want to do them. I do things because it feels good to me. I'm not going to take anyone's permission for that. Yeah, like informing someone or keeping someone in the loop is another thing. Okay, respecting their opinion and their feelings is another thing. But taking permission for every single thing, that is ridiculous. And I know a lot of people who do that in a relationship, but it's really messed up. But when this thing happened, again, it got me to a place where I was realizing that this is becoming super suffocating. I cannot live like this. I cannot live in a way where I'm just constantly thinking of his insecurities all the time. And he used to blame my past for it. Okay, so this is the main point of mess up for me. Like, this is what haunted me for years, where he told me that it was my past because of which he could not trust me. It was my past. And let me tell you, this whole relationship with him, this was back in 2018. I truly felt like I had become a different person and I had better control over my mind and emotions. And I was 100% faithful to him. I was 100% there with him. No matter what situation came up, I was there. But he sort of took all my past instances and used them to judge me, to blame me, to point fingers at me, to basically infer things about me that were not true. And it was not fair. It was not fair because using my past to define my present was not cool, was not fair. And it took me a lot to sort of get out of this mess again, this situation again. But when this relationship ended, I found myself in a place where I was scared. I was terrified. I felt like, what if every guy that I meet is going to judge me for my past? What if it doesn't matter if I've changed? What if everybody just makes a decision on the kind of person I am based on my past? What if this has become my identity? What if nobody ever trusts me? What is it going to be like? You know, these things of fear, and also all the bad stuff that I had done, all the bad decisions that I had made, used to haunt me to the point that I used to feel this terror inside of me, which used to feel like something bad is going to happen to me. Because all of this has happened, something bad is going to happen to me. And I was just constantly living in that fear that there would be one moment where I would be in a relationship, I would be happy, and then this person would cheat on me and he would walk away from my life. These are the thoughts that I was living with. So that's why until 2020, if I had to talk about all these things, I could not talk about it without breaking down. I just could not, because it used to terrify me. What are the bad things are going to happen to me? Who is going to cheat on me? And things like that. So when I was going through this process, it took me a lot to sort of heal myself. I was in this healing process. I was still through this process when again a new entry happened. A new someone walked into my life, and this person I was not expecting. Like, I didn't want to be in a relationship. I was very sure of it. I was still healing. But it somehow turned out to be in a way that I ended up becoming attached to this person. And I didn't even meet him ever. So it was a virtual thing. I was talking to him virtually, and I had never met him. But one thing led to another, and I found myself being super attached to him. And I almost felt like at some level I had fallen for him. I don't know how, because I had never met him, but it felt like that. And when this thing happened, again, I was living in the constant fear of, what if this person asks me about my past? What if this person asks me one time about this or that? Is he going to judge me? Is he always going to judge me based on that? Everything is going to be ruined. Or how am I coming across? These things were so terrifying to me that a few months down the line, things happened in a way that I was being gaslighted. I was being manipulated. I didn't even know it, that this is what was happening. I didn't even realize that all these things were happening to me, because I didn't even know the meaning of these things, honestly. I was putting up with it every single day. And to the point where I was made to feel crazy about whatever I was saying. And by this time, this was back in 2020. So I knew that I had become a changed person, but it was like I was trying to let go of my past mistakes. I was trying to let go of all that I had done. I was trying to start over a fresh leaf. But this relationship, the way it ended, the way I was made to feel because of the gaslighting, manipulation, and all of this, it made me lose my identity. It made me lose my identity to the very core, to the point where I was not sure as to who am I anymore. I didn't know if I could trust my decisions. I didn't know if I could trust my intuition. I didn't know if I was doing anything right. I used to take pride in the fact that I judge people. I judge people as in I can meet somebody and I can see that if they're good for me or not. But this was the first time when I went wrong. So it made me question every single thing. Everything was shaken up for me, inside of me. And then I went to Manali. I moved to Manali, and I remember the 2 months that I spent there. There was so much healing that had happened. There was so much healing that had happened that it just made me gain all the perspective back. It made me understand how things were never about me. With this last person I'm talking about, how things were never about me, how it was all about them, how my intention was not wrong. Signs were always in front of me. I chose to ignore them. Everything was in front of me, but I chose to ignore them. I reached a place where I realized that I was not scared to sort of talk about my past anymore. I realized that if somebody is going to judge me based on my past, be it, then probably he doesn't deserve to be in my life anyway, because I don't deserve that. If I am a changed person now, all those mistakes that I did turned me into the person I am today. If it was not for those things and the lessons, all of the stuff that had happened, I would not be here. I cannot think of one thing that I regret today, even my mistakes. Because if in any way that I hurt somebody, it made them a stronger person. It's not that I'm feeling proud of my mistakes, but I'm saying that it still helped somebody become a stronger, wiser person. It helped me become a stronger, wiser person. If I ended up with any of these people that I wanted to end up with so bad, I would not be here. I just would not be here. I know that. This business would not have been here. My growth would not have been at the place that it is right now. I realized that making bad decisions does not make me a bad person. It just means that that was the best I knew at that time. And it just means that if I learned something from those mistakes and it made me a better person, I changed, I grew, I evolved as a person, and that is something to be proud of. If you make a mistake in life, if you take a bad decision, but you learn from it, you decide never to do that ever again, and it changes who you are, it was not a mistake. It was a growth curve for you. And that's the same thing, that's the perspective change that I did in myself. Instead of cursing myself and hating myself for everything that I did, I looked at it and I went like, thank God for those mistakes. I'm so glad it happened, because now that's never going to happen, and I know exactly what I want from my life right now. And it's probably exactly why I'm not even scared to talk about this stuff anymore. I'm not scared to share this stuff wondering if you're going to judge me for it, because any person who judges me based on my past does not deserve to be in my life. And the person who can accept me, my flaws, my imperfections for exactly who I am, I'm going to welcome them with open arms. It's simple. There is no explanation that's going to happen here. I'm not going to explain myself. I'm not going to validate or sort of go over my past mistakes and tell you the ifs and whys and hows. It's in the past. Today, I'm a different person, and that's what matters. So if that's you, stop cursing yourself, stop blaming yourself, stop hurting yourself, and stop hating yourself, because every mistake is a learning curve. And there was a lot of forgiveness that had to happen here as well. I had to forgive people, and I had to forgive myself, because if I did not do that, I would have definitely again not been here. In order to truly heal these parts of me, I had to forgive the people who had done wrong to me, and I had to tell myself that, hey, I forgive you. I know you did wrong, but now you know better. That's what matters. Without that forgiveness thing, nothing would have happened at all. So this is my message to any of you who feel like you're stuck in this rut. And this is my story. This is my story when it comes to relationships. It's not been the prettiest, but well, you learn and you grow. And now I know that I have become such a magnetic person that I don't even feel the need to be in anyone's life. It's been 3 years that I have not been with anyone really, and it just brings me so much joy to sort of know and have the knowing that there is no void that I'm feeling right now. I'm complete, I'm whole as a person. And now whenever somebody comes into my life, he's just gonna add on to that happiness. And I'm not in a rush, and neither should you be. And on a different note, if you would have realized that I have started to post consistently on my channel, and that has happened only because of my video editor, Nishchal, who I'm so grateful for. I have always wanted to work with somebody who has their own set of ideas and opinions, and I don't have to run behind them, behind timelines for being punctual, and they bring their own set of creativity. And that's exactly what he got me. It feels like a breeze working with him. I can just tell him once what needs to be done, and I don't have to worry about it anymore. And for me, that is such a blessing, because that has taken so much away from my plate. I'm very grateful for him, for you, Nishchal. If you're watching this, of course you're going to be watching this, you're going to edit this video. But thank you so much for all that you do, and I'm very grateful to be working with you. And let's end this video now. If you like this video, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Tell me something in the comments below, something that you felt that you regretted up until this point, something that you made a mistake, some mistake that you made or something like that. Anything that you want to share with regards to relationships, I'm going to be reading all of it, and I'm going to see you in my next video.